The following is a production by Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. You can support Lone Star Community Radio by donating and sponsoring programs just like this. For more information, check us out online at irlonestar.com. This segment is brought to you by
Team Sinisi is a proud sponsor of Conroe Culture News. Vinny Sinisi and his professional team provide comprehensive real estate services throughout the greater Montgomery County area and beyond. Whether looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, Team Sinisi has an impeccable reputation. Contact Team Sinisi for a great experience at teamsinisi.com. That's TEAMSINISI.com.
Since 2004, Roger Stein Chiropractic has offered spine and joint manipulation services to residents of Montgomery County and surrounding areas. Conditions treated include lower back pain, migraines, headaches, whiplash, carpal tunnel, neck pain, sciatica, joint pain, sports injuries, herniated discs, and complications from pregnancy. Roger Stein Chiropractic, led by Dr. Stacy Rogers and Dr. Brian McGee, is an integrity-verified chiropractic clinic. Call 936-441-9990 for an appointment or visit rogerssteinchiropractic.com. That's RODGERSSTEIN chiropractic.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
And we are back for our second segment today, December 13th. I am Margie Taylor, your host for Conroe Culture News from Taylorized PR. And today we're listening from different candidates. We learned about Ben Armenta, who is a candidate for Texas Land Commissioner, and now we're going to listen to Amy Tucker, who is actually a sitting judge in County Court of Law 1, and she's also a candidate for re-election. Well, you didn't get re-elected. You were appointed. Is that correct?
I was appointed.
Okay,
it's
so
actually County Court of Law 3. You said 1.
I'm so sorry. I have 3 here on my paper, and I know it's 3. But yes, for Amy Tucker as a candidate for County Court of Law 3. But we're going to talk about that too, the differences between the different court of laws, because now there's going to be six county court of laws and the difference between them. But first, I want to remind you where you can find out more about Judge Amy Tucker. Of course, you can go to her Facebook page at Judge Amy Tucker TX, or you can follow her on judgeamytucker.com, her website, take a donation, anything you want to do to help Amy out in her candidacy for County Court of Law 3. 1, 2, 3. So first of all, Amy, you enjoy being a judge, I assume.
I do. I love it, actually.
Do you? What do you love about it?
Well, I love that every day brings a new challenge, and I specifically like what we do in our court, which is a specialty court. We are a family court and the designated CPS court. I love that we are dealing with families and real-life problems, and I honestly feel like at the end of every day, we are making a difference in people's lives. It's very fulfilling.
I understand that. I have been a CASA volunteer in the past, many years ago, and I know that CASA advocates play a big role in your court, family law with CPS and all of that. So let's go backwards a minute. Tell me a little bit about you and your background.
Sure. So I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, and my parents were teachers. And my aunt was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I think I might have had a great-grandmother who was a teacher. So I grew up in a house full of teachers. I always knew public service was going to be where I ended up. I did not know how. So I was a really good student. Of course, I had to be. I always tell people I think I made a B+ in 7th grade, and my mom didn't talk to me for a week. So in my house, there were
pretty rigid.
It was very rigid, high expectations, no excuses, and it was also very athletic family. So my parents played tennis for the University of Houston. I think my mom was on one of the first, if not the first, women's team there. And Houston was always this magical place to me growing up when we would come to the big city. And my dad's family is actually from East Texas in the Longview area. So I've always loved this part of Texas. And I'm really happy that I've ended up here, but I'm getting off on a tangent. So
where'd you go to school?
So I went to University of Tennessee in Knoxville for college. And I did that because I played on a full golf scholarship.
Oh.
And I had a great time there. And then I went to law school at the University of Texas in Austin.
Very nice. Yes, my son had a scholarship as a golfer too.
Really?
But he chose to go to a private school instead of going to one that would have gone a lot further for his money. But such is life.
Well, I honestly, I considered that myself. But I honestly, on my recruiting trip to the University of Tennessee, they took me to a football game. And it was the most incredible experience of my young life at that time. And I was
Good.
sold.
Good. So you got your law degree, and did you have a private practice here in town?
I didn't. I was awarded a federal clerkship after finishing law school. So I clerked for a federal judge down in Corpus, where I did all sorts of different things. I really learned federal law very well in about 10 months. But I knew child welfare was where I wanted to go because in my last semester of law school, I had happened onto a class. It was a child welfare class, and it was the first class in law school that really inspired me. And I saw an online posting for a job here with the Montgomery County Attorney's Office and came up on a Friday and interviewed, and they hired me on a Monday.
Wow.
So
That's
I
fast.
started, it was very quick. I was
Wow.
26 years old. And I was hired in their family violence and child welfare division, which means at the beginning of my time there, I represented women who needed family violence protective orders and also child
That's
protective
rewarding.
services. It was, and as a 26-year-old, it was I
That's a
learned a
great
lot very
position.
quickly.
Very nice. And then from there, where did you go?
So I was there for 11 years.
That's a long time.
It was. It went quick, though. I can tell you that. And my boss was amazing. The county attorney at the time was David Walker. And at the end of that time, he decided to retire. And so I knew there was a little bit of uncertainty about the office. And just, I think fate intervened, and Judge McDonald, who was then the presiding judge of County Court at Law 3, posted for an associate judge position in 2012. And in my heart, I felt like I needed to apply. It was a family court at that time. They were going to specialized courts. And I don't know. I can't explain it. I just felt such an overwhelming pull. And so I did. I applied, sent in resume, writing samples, and interviewed, and she hired me. And that was December
Fabulous.
1st of 2012.
Wow. So you've been in this position quite a while. Well,
Yes. I've been a judge for County Court at Law 3 now for over 9 years.
that's a long time.
It is.
What have you learned?
So much. So much. So when I started, I had a background when I started as a judge, I had been a litigator, basically, in the courtroom all the time, trying cases, having contested hearings. I also handled all of my own appeals, which is a whole other area that's challenging. And when I got on with Judge McDonald, I just threw myself into learning every aspect of family law, everything. And along the way, she gently suggested that I get board certified. So I went through that process, which was rigorous, and became board certified in family law. And as the years went by, I just had a tug at my heart for these CPS cases. And I went to her and I asked her if we could take the CPS cases back into County Court at Law 3 instead of being in a visiting judge. And she said, absolutely. And from there, we tried to get all the CPS cases into our court because it's an area of the law that I'm an expert in, and I love those cases, and I'm passionate. And I just felt like I had a skill set, a unique skill set that could best serve that entire docket. And so as of August 1st, 2020, we became the designated CPS court.
You know, it makes more sense than a visiting judge to me. I don't know why, but it just does because they are familiar with what's going on in Montgomery County. Do you think, or what do you think about that?
So if I were to go through the whole history of the CPS court since I started here in 2001 with the county, it would take a while. But I think what I can say is that early on, a judge, and I have to give Judge Underwood recognized a need to have all the CPS cases in one court, which he did, and created what was at the time called a cluster court.
I remember that.
Right, and there still are cluster courts scattered around the state. In that cluster court, generally over the period of about 15 to 20 years or so, the judge hearing those cases was usually a retired judge, but they sat as a visiting judge. And so there was a little, there was some turnover. There were not a lot of longevity with each judge.
It wasn't consistent.
It wasn't as consistent as I think they need. And I just honestly feel very strongly that they need a court. They need to be in a court, a statutory court, where they get the attention that they need, because these are very difficult cases, as you can imagine.
I'm sure. I understand. I've been a single mom with 3 kids. And you have children.
I do have children.
How old are they?
I have 2 daughters, and they are 9 and 11, going on 30. They are both in the GT program at Conroe ISD, and I'm very proud of them.
Of course.
One's a dancer and one's an athlete. So they are amazing in their own way, but they are absolutely opposite.
Well, see, I think it's important if you're going to be in a family court that you have kids, too, so you know what it's like, right? I mean...
Well, I agree, and I tell people in my court all the time that there's the legal side of this case, and then there's the real world side. And I do focus a lot on the real world side, because I understand...
You're making a difference in people's lives.
Exactly.
You're impacting them.
And the decisions that we make every day affect your day-to-day life if you're in our court. And ultimately, all the people involved in the court system are not going to be in your life. You are going to have to live this outcome. And I just think it's so important to recognize and make decisions with that in mind.
So what do you think is the most important things people need to know about you in difference to the other candidate that's running? What makes you stand out as different?
Well, I think first and foremost, I am uniquely qualified to preside over this specialty court. And it's a specialty court in the area of family law, but also in CPS law. We only get 20% of the family law cases filed, because the other judges recognized how time and labor intensive the CPS docket was. So it's a big part of this court. I'm the only judge in the history of Montgomery County to specifically request these cases, which I think is indicative of where my heart is.
Your passion?
I am also one of only 47 attorneys in the entire state of Texas who are double board certified in family law and child welfare law. That's a very small percentage. And I am also doing my level best to remain current on all of the changing law. This last legislative session was a whirlwind. I cannot even begin to tell you all of the substantive changes that occurred in this area of the law. And I also am passionate about family law. My first order of business when I was appointed by the Commissioner's Court was to look for the most qualified associate judge I could find, and I have that. Judge Jack Riley has been a family law attorney for 27 years. And
I met him.
Yes, he's been board certified in family law for over 15 years. I mean, I think our combined experience and expertise is unrivaled in the state of Texas as far as a family and CPS court. And I am devoted and committed to creating a child protection court that can be used as a model for other courts in the state.
So you really care about this, and you are driven to, as a candidate, to win. I mean, you are the judge, not even acting. You are the judge in this court right now.
I am, and I'm totally committed to the CPS cases. And I am willing to fight for them, which is really what I think I'm doing right now. And I don't know that if you look at the history of the county, I don't know that there's ever been a judge who has been willing to fight for these cases like I have been.
That's exciting. So do you have any upcoming events?
I do, actually. We have
When is it?
Well, it felt far away when we scheduled it, but now it seems very close. It's January the 6th, and it's at 5:30 at the Honor Cafe. So it's close, right after work, and it's just a rally.
First week when everybody gets back.
Exactly. And we knew January was going to be
Crazy.
slammed
Crazy.
with this campaign season, so we were trying to get in early. But I'm excited. I've honestly, I never had aspirations to be in political office, and that's the truth. I never thought I would be here. But I have met so many amazing people.
Sure,
and,
absolutely.
The people in this community who are advocates for our foster children in whatever capacity inspire me every day to continue this fight, honestly.
No, you meet so many people on the campaign trail.
Yes.
Well, especially when you have to cover the whole county,
Right.
you know, and be all over, and your family has to be in it as well. It's almost like they're running as well, right?
Right. If you need a supportive family, and
Absolutely.
thankfully I have that. And the
Yes.
county is so much bigger than I thought it was. Just
Oh yeah, I know.
physically how big it is.
Oh yes, I know. I feel it. Yes, absolutely. So again, you can go to your Facebook page, Judge Amy Tucker, Texas, judgeamytucker.com, or just go in the search box and find you, right? I mean, Amy
I hope
Tucker, it's
so.
pretty easy, I would
hope
think.
so.
And I'm sure you will be out and around the community, especially January, February, because that's go time.
I will, and if you go to my website, judgeamytucker.com, there is it's just a 2-minute video.
Okay.
And I would ask you to watch that because I think it tells you a little bit about my background and why I'm doing this and why I think it's so important.
Well, you seem very, not only just passionate, but very concerned, very real about, you know, your love of the kids and the court and the families. And
I am.
I wish you well.
It's my heart, and like I said, I didn't find this; it found me, and I'm thankful that it did because I have looked forward to going to the office every single day of my legal career, and I'm grateful for that.
You have such a quiet demeanor. it's almost comforting, you know.
Well, that's good. That's
yes.
what my families need.
Yes, they do. So that wraps us up for today. I am Margie Taylor, your host for Conroe Culture News, and the sponsors, we want to give a little shout out to them. We have Team Sinisi Real Estate Group serving the greater Montgomery County as the best source for buying, selling your home, or investing in real estate. 281-507-9777, Team Sinisi. And we also have Roger Stein Chiropractic, and they are located on 3033 West Davis in Conroe by Conroe High School. Please check them out, rogersteinchiropractic.com. We appreciate you listening, and reach out to me if you want to be a guest.